I would be lying if I said I am 100% certain what exactly it is we shall find in Blackfire Pass. Will we uncover a hidden temple of Sigmar, lost for thousands of years? Will we find a passage into the earth and have to pass tests given from Sigmar himself to prove our worth? Will we find nothing? Will it all be a wasted effort? It certainly is possible, but I feel deep in my gut that I am not wrong. I feel deep in my soul that this is the path Sigmar intends for us to take. The heroes of Middenheim, nay, the heroes of the Empire, will guide us to the hammer. They will guide us through this time of crisis, and though the forces of chaos will try and destroy us, they shall not succeed. I know not what awaits us, but this fact, this truth, this I do know. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. It is a very busy day for our three brave heroes, as they are shuffled back and forth through several major briefings. It seems they have been given a task. It is not to quell the religious tensions. It's not to try and diplomatically sort out wars. Instead, it's something perhaps a little more direct, and maybe something that they can actually do well. Go on an expedition. An expedition to Blackfire Pass, in the Black Mountains, the southern mountains that border the Empire. Blackfire Pass itself is in Averland. It's not a short journey. Even by good boats and good foot travel, it might take as long as 3 to 4 weeks just to get there. Almost a month. But it is a journey that must be made. However, there is a slight difference this time. Long gone are the days where the three of you would grab on a coach and just wish for the best, adventure away free. You all now have responsibilities, and it's almost as if with the more power and responsibility you have, the more obligations and lack of freedom you have. The initial briefing is simple. You will be accompanying Imperial Scholar Quintus Fassbinder on this expedition, but you will not be going alone. The mission is far too important for that. You will not be at the head of a large army, for that could draw too much attention. And you have been informed that if possible, your mission is to be kept reasonably under wraps. You may have to, on the way, show off a little bit of your Imperial clearance to get through places, but it's been advised that letting everybody know that you're off on a great adventure to find a holy relic could draw the wrong kind of attention from all sorts of foes of the Empire. So the party is going to be small. A small delegation from the cult of Sigmar, but also a small delegation from Middenheim. It is believed that this is the best way to attempt to repair the relationship between the two provinces, and at least have some sort of solidarity during this time of possible civil strife. Kruger Hoffman, you are first up. Due to your position in the court of Middenheim, you've been given preference over Heinrich Schilf, and even Lady Siegfrieda, although she's been sent off on her own errand. You are the one considered closest to the actual running of Middenheim at this point in time due to your relationship with the Commission. So it is you who are seated before Graf Boris Todbringer, Baron Rainer Todbringer, his son, Preceptor Vera Fugheim, the commander of the Knights Panther of Middenheim, Katrina Todbringer, although she is resting, although she has insisted on being at this meeting today, and of course, Barek Kraneg, your would-be mentor, intelligence dwarf, in service directly to Rainer Todbringer. You might be wondering why Reiner and so many other people are here. Well, it's simple. They're going to be coming with you. Baron Reiner has insisted that he lead the Middenheim delegation. And of course, he cannot go alone. He will be accompanied by Viren, Barrick, and 10 Knights Panther. As you are sitting before the graph, he has informed you of all this, that he concludes. And so you see, Kruger, Hoffman, it is vital that this mission succeeds, and it is vital that at all costs you protect my son. You do understand this, yes?
Of course, yes. I will make it my duty to ensure that, well, that as many people as possible get through this alive, and of course your son, and that we find this, this very important thing that we're looking for.
It certainly is important. It seems madness to even be making such a journey. But where we have been informed of the situation, it makes sense now. All along, the Emperor has been absent. All these choices made by well, who knows at this point. But at least it starts to make some sense. I was honestly starting to think he had... Well, maybe it doesn't matter what I thought.
No, but I'm certain that many people thought similar things as you did, my lord. It is good to know that there truly was something behind it all. It makes me feel hope for the future. We just now need to secure this and finish this mission successfully, and, well, then everything can be made right again in the Empire.
Katerina comes forward and nods. Again, she's still got a cast on her arm. Luckily, thanks to Siegfrieda, a sprained ankle and a broken arm are the only injuries she suffered after her assassination attempt. Yes, I'm so sorry that once again we have to ask this of you, but this is vital, and as we all agree, it's vital that we're part of this. This is one of the only ways we can truly try and mend the rift that has come between our provinces.
I fully agree. Peace must be brought back to the Empire. The bonds must be strengthened again, and we have to be one once more.
Baron Reiner comes forward, again a towering giant of a man with a great thick beard and a great wolf pelt. Indeed. It will be an honor to journey with the heroes of Middenheim. It will be an honor to represent Ulrich. I hope you will remember that, and keep, well, your friends in line. I respect Heinrich Schilf, but I begin to worry that his allegiances are stemming further and further away from the Empire itself, and being clouded by the Church of Sigmar. I do not wish to cause a problem. I wish there to be peace, but they... Surely you agree it is infuriating how much they have levied blame on us. They say our city was corrupted by chaos. They say we were lax. And now it turns out that they had a bloody imposter or something right at the Emperor himself.
Nobody is free from blame in all of this. If I could suggest anything, it would be that we try to take the high road here, and we show that we will not hold a grudge. Maybe that way, true peace can be achieved.
Ulrich holds no grudges, and neither will I. But they will... I don't know. Reiner just starts pacing around a little. Boris just nods. Forgive my son, he is courageous, but perhaps a little hot-headed at times. But he's not wrong. I'm hoping that after all this, Altdorf and the Emperor will accept some responsibility. The cult of Sigmar has made mistakes as well. Not that they'll ever admit it.
It shall be interesting to see if they will take their part of the blame for what has happened. It would be a good sign in that case. But if they don't, well, at least we can do our part.
Indeed. So, I entrust to you my son. Obviously, Viren will accompany him. Viren comes forward. An older Ulrican, again the commander of the Knights Panther in Middenheim, and the one who'll be leading the 10 Knights. A pleasure to finally meet you, Kruger. It's only a pity that I was with the Baron at the time of your original time in Middenheim. I would have loved to have helped you uncover the conspiracy. I feel ashamed that I didn't see it when I was there personally.
Oh, yes, it went quite deep. I'm just happy we were able to catch it before the damage would have been irreparable.
Indeed. My knights are mine to command, but we will heed you and your friends' counsel, including the Lady Wittgenstein. Yes, says Reiner. I am looking forward to accompanying Lady Wittgenstein. I have had much to say to her. She has helped my brother greatly. I wish to swear to her that in the name of Ulrich, I will defend her to the last.
I'm sure she will appreciate that.
Boris says. Meanwhile, I will be going back to Middenheim with my daughter. Just in case things go wrong, I can't leave my people behind. We must be ready. You understand?
Of course. Of course.
And with that, you are dismissed from that grand hearing. But for a moment, your attention is drawn to Barrick and Lady Emmanuel Nacht. They come to you privately after this meeting. Lady Emmanuel bows to you and says, Well, are you happy with your assignment? I won't lie, I'd prefer it if you particularly were here to stay with us and help us with the investigations here, but it does make sense that you're needed elsewhere first.
I bow to her and I say, well, yes, I too would have preferred to remain here, but then again, there's nothing quite as important as what we're trying to do here. If we fail, then, well, I don't dare think about the consequences that might have. So, I feel privileged to have been chosen for this mission. I will do my utmost to make sure that I don't let you down.
Well, good. In the meantime, I'll be heading off with some of the others and following the leads we have. Unfortunately, all the leads we were able to get from Kappelmüller lead out of Altdorf. I'm afraid this time we haven't been so lucky. In Middenheim, you were able to find a true nest very quickly. Here, once again, as usual, they've just vanished into the shadows. But we are going to follow these leads.
That is good. I mean, perhaps they learned from their experiences in Middenheim that they can easily be destroyed once the thread begins to be unraveled.
Barrick grunts a little. I don't know. Seems to me awfully convenient, doesn't it? How do you mean, Master Barrick? Don't you two find it a little convenient that the only leads are out of the city? Leading everyone out of the city? No, just me.
It is an interesting thought. But surely there will be enough guards and security here to ensure that no one tries to capitalize on the opening, no?
Lady Emmanuel Nacht nods. Barrack doesn't seem as convinced, but he just shrugs. This isn't my city, human. It's, well, hers. Besides, I'm coming with you. My duty is to protect Baron Reiner, after all. And I can scout. It's been a long time since I've been on the road, though.
We're very happy and appreciative of the fact that you will be joining us.
You better be. Maybe with me around, you three will be a lot more professional.
Come now, what do you mean professional? We've strived to be as professional as can be, I say, smiling.
Is that a human joke?
Well, I'm not sure. We have, genuinely speaking, tried to do the right thing at all times.
He grunts a little, but you've got to know, Barrack. This isn't truly a grunt of disapproval, it's just a grunt that he often likes to make. Lady Emmanuel Nacht comes over and nods. Well, any questions before you go? Anything about what we're doing? I'm happy to answer for the moment. You have access to an awful lot of things at the moment, Hare.
Well, if there are any suggestions that you can make as to what we should keep an eye out for, or things we should be on the guard against, that would be very appreciated.
Tricky. You're not going to infiltrate a city, you're going off on some magical quest into the mountains. It all sounds a bit like a fairy tale, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm not really that skilled at that sort of thing. I'd say that you will have to be careful as you head through Averland. Remember, pretty sure they're at war right now, with themselves.
Civil war then.
Yes, but hopefully they won't impede you. But who knows with the Countess of... No, who knows? But yes, you'll have to go by boat, and then overground, and then when you get to the mountains, well, that's the mountains. I don't know much about them. Barrick chimes in. The pass should be safe enough for the moment, unless an army decides to come while we're there. Once we're in the mountains, though, who knows? Plenty of dangers there.
Is there anything that we should know about these forces that are fighting each other in Everland? Is it any particular causes that they're championing, or anyone we should pretend to be or not to be when we're passing through there?
Barrick grunts. Well, again, they should answer to the Emperor, so that should be all we need to do. Again, we believe the Civil War are the Leitdorfs and the Alptrams. Currently, the Alptrams are the ones who rule the province, but, well, the Leitdorfs have an issue with that. So, this is old history. They fought countless times over the last couple hundred years. I believe the one who leads the Leitdorfs these days is Count Marius Leitdorf. They say he's, not all there. By human standards.
Well, that is certainly a standard to measure against. Is there any particular cause behind the war, or is it just your regular power plays?
Lady Emmanuel shrugs. At this point, who knows? Normally, I would say just a power play, but who knows what's going on with the Empire at the moment. Lots of things that we think are true aren't. I really am starting to think the entire situation in Ypsreich is not what it seems. I've literally been there for months and found no evidence of any rebellion, although our presence there is causing one. I've tried telling that to my superiors, but only Lady Yana believes me.
Any reason to then believe that the Purple Hand are active in Everland?
Possibly. At this point, Kruger, you have to assume they're everywhere. I told you. I think the only place they aren't now is in Middenheim, thanks to you.
Well, at least that's something. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled then, and we'll take it as easy as we can.
Indeed. To be fair, Kruger, remember the mission. We're not going to Everland to sort out their problems. We've just got to get through there and find this site. That's the mission.
That it is. I say, and I look at them as though I don't have any further questions at the moment. There's, of course, many things that I would love to know, but, well, where to even begin? We'll deal with it when we get to it. That's what we've always done, and sometimes it's easier that way. Best not make too many plans.
Meanwhile, Lady Sigfrida. As court physician to the Graf, you are considered part of the Middenheim delegation, but of course, in this scenario, it was not considered that vital that you attend that meeting. Although you are aware of everything that was said, you are aware of all the people who are coming and what's going on there. You, instead, though, were given a more direct order to head to the Physicians' Guild. For two reasons. Firstly, just to confirm with the head of the Physicians' Guild your recommendations for the future treatment of the Emperor. You have been informed that they were one of the few officials aware of what was actually going on. But also, to collect on their recommendation, but also yours, a team of 5 physicians. You will be responsible for them, and they will be accompanying the expedition to ensure that healthcare is provided and that battle injuries can be treated. There are, after all, quite a few important people coming on this expedition.
Where am I sourcing these physicians from? From the guild directly, or is it basically an open call and they have to come and present their credentials to me?
From the guild directly, although you have been informed you will be probably given lists from the military division. So physicians who have military experience in the Imperial Army.
We're going to be looking more at surgeons than people skilled at brewing a potion.
Exactly. You find yourself in the Physicians' Guild. Making your way through Altdorf is interesting. The city is clearly in a state of unrest. There are several streets that are closed off. You hear rumours that some parts of the dock districts are completely out of control, the dockside gangs choosing this moment to have a full-scale war, and, of course, several riots being quelled in the name of Sigmar and Ulrich. But you are able to make your way to the fine building. It is a grand building indeed, and currently full. As you enter, you see a very long line of people waiting to be seen. Lots of people whose clothing suggests they are nobility, but also merchants, or people of some middling class. And they're all waiting to be seen, and you can see several physicians and physicians' apprentices all running around the main offices. But you are, of course, guided directly upstairs, and seen by the current head of the Physicians' Guild, a Dr. Grunhilde. Quite an elderly woman, very sharp eyes, hunched over a desk. As you are escorted inside, she nods. Ah, Lady Wittgenstein, I have already drawn up the list of potentials for you to select.
Oh, glorious. Thank you very much, Doctor.
And yes, any final notes on the situation regarding our special patient? Apparently, the treatment was, as we all thought, correct, and it has been malpractice that has caused many issues. But of course, if you have any other ideas... She grits her teeth a little. I have been ordered to obey them.
Dr. Grunhilde, I can't help but notice that you seem to be under some strain. I'd prefer that we were candid with each other. After all, I can take an insult if there's one you need to throw my way. It's not like I'll be in the city for long. What appears to be the matter?
The situation in the Empire is hardly ideal right now. Several people from villages are coming in seeking aid and refuge. Naturally, disease and injury is rife. We are overbooked and overclocked. Thank Sigmar that at least the Shallians are able to deal with those who can't pay.
Well, I grit my teeth a little at that. Not too much of a fan of people of low means being separated from those who can afford it. But I appreciate that isn't the battle to fight right now, especially as I'm about to leave the city. I suppose what I was more driving at, Doctor, and I respect your position a huge deal, is do you have a problem with deferring to me on deciding the Emperor's course of treatment, or indeed selecting the physicians to accompany me on this journey to the mountains?
She taps her fingers a little, mulling something over, before responding, No, I am a loyal servant of the Emperor, my lady, and the Black Chamber have made it very clear that any worries about your background are to be ignored. Besides, your works has no errors, so why would I question any of it?
Well, precisely my concern, and I smile at her. I do so respect more the people who can, the doctors indeed, who can come to me with their concerns on their sleeve. It's easier to resolve issues when they're spoken openly rather than deferring to loyal silence and pacts of honor, that kind of thing. But I will respect your need to play the part, and I'll take that list of recommendations. In terms of the Emperor's treatment, I have already provided my guidance on what he needs, though as a surgeon primarily, I still defer to more skilled apothecaries. Again, as if it doesn't need repeating, he does not need nearly as much incense burned in his proximity. It will only slow down his recovery.
We are aware of that. That was Dr. Kappermüller's miracle. That clearly is defunct.
That is why I said again. I was repeating it just to ensure you knew. But otherwise, I have left you with some books that I have accumulated over my journey. I would suggest that whatever apothecaries and surgeons are left responsible for treating him, refer to them. Some of these books I have penned myself. They are sourced from, as I say, various places I have been. And some of the treatments are quite bold, but I think they would be worth investigating to speed up, expedite, if you will, the Emperor's recovery. And my smile will drop.
There's no need to make an intuition roll. When you mention books you've penned yourself, there is a clear clenching of the teeth, before a polite nod. Yes, Lady Wittgenstein, of course we will consult those, especially the books you've written.
That is wonderful, and please, you do not need to refer to me by Lady Wittgenstein. It is only an honorific. In your company, I am a physician. Yes, the royal physician in many ways at this point, but I am just as qualified as you.
She nods and briefly scrunches up a bit of paper and just puts it in a bin next to her. Yes, just as qualified. After all, I've only been at this job for 40 years. But yes, your apparent year just as qualified. Yes, Lady Wittgenstein, yes.
How tragic, then, that despite your experience you have been consigned to work behind a desk. I do wonder who you must have offended. I will take this list, as I say, and I will return a message with my selections. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Grunhild. Do get back to your paperwork. I'm sure it is vital.
Indeed. And as you leave the office, you can clearly hear the sound of something breaking, as the head of the Physicians Guild apparently didn't take kindly to being informed that they just work behind a desk. But what do you care? It seems these days that no one can tell you what they really think, without threat of, well, getting in a lot of trouble. The power of nobility, even minor nobility, it seems.
No, it's a bit disappointing in a way. I quite like having a bit of a cut and thrust with people who want to challenge my status, my learning or ability, and it seems now that I'm a hero of Middenheim, so to speak, that people are afraid of challenging me, and that is... It makes them far too easy to push around, and I'm not a bully. Well, I don't think I'm a bully. I mean, how can you bully the head of the Physicians Guild? I shake my head as I'm walking away. Whoever extracted the venom out of that woman was clearly a master snake handler, but they robbed me of a decent challenge by doing so.
Indeed. Still, you have a list of at least 30-40 candidates, of which of course you only need 5, but you will surely be able to find what you need, given a little more time. As you're looking over these lists and exiting the building, you are surprised to see some people coming to meet you. Apprentice Leah, who of course has been here the whole time, but naturally has just been in the manse minding her own business as your apprentice, and Elvira Kleinstein. But there's also someone you weren't expecting to see. Following behind them, looking awfully scruffy and a little dirty, is Erica. She immediately runs up to you and barks her approval at finally having found you and begins trying to get your attention.
Oh, I immediately drop down to my knees and allow Erica to practically bowl me over.
Apprentice Leah comes over. My lady, I am so sorry. It seems Erica has, for once, actually been a bad dog. We think she must have been following the main carriages a day or two behind us, to have actually arrived here when she has.
How on any world could that ever be considered the behaviour of a bad dog? Erica is a beautiful creature, and she knew exactly where to go. Didn't you, I say, giving her a good rub? And Leah as well. Not that I'm comparing you to a good dog, but what is it that brought you here so quickly? It couldn't have been my summons, surely. That wouldn't have reached you by now.
Well, my lady, no, Well, you know, she smiles a little. I had to find Erica, didn't I? Couldn't just let her run off into the night by herself, could I?
Oh, you are I get to my feet. You are more than worthwhile as an apprentice, Leah, but your role is not as dog minder. Erica can look after herself. There's a whole surgery for you to account for. And this is not an admonishment, nothing like that. I understand why you made the decision you did. But Please, you do not need to worry about a dog that's getting as big as Erica is.
Leah smiles and says, "Well, seems I don't have a choice in the matter anyway now, my lady. I'm part of whatever's going on. I am your apprentice, after all. Apparently we're going to be looking after quite a few other people."
Yes, I did send you a message, as I say, but I can't imagine you've seen it yet. Asking you to close up the surgery or find a temporary mendicant to run it in your stead. Because we will be journeying together again. And I'm sure we will discover all kinds of interesting things and have to treat all kinds of novel injuries and ailments. So it will be a learning trip, but I'm sure not without a little danger.
Apprentice Leah smiles and nods, and at that point Elvira clears her throat. "Speaking of which, forgive me for interrupting. I know you're very busy, my lady, but I had to come personally. I have to thank you. Immensely. I've been informed of some of the things that have been happening. It seems an awful lot of evidence was set up against me. I had no idea. I think if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to defend myself. They say there is proof from the guards that I did attend that room several times, but I swear I did not."
I will break my usual protocol and take her hands. Elvira, dear, please. There was never going to be the slightest chance that I would have allowed you to take the blame for anything that occurred. That's a lie, but I will tell it to reassure her. I am incredibly gratified that you are proven innocent, and rest assured, no one is coming for your head, or your title, your role, or any other part of you.
Well, thank you, my lady. Again, I'm grateful you defended me, but I'm maybe a little surprised. After all, apparently the evidence was quite convincing, and considering my history, which you don't know. But, well, I feel I should tell you. I know your secrets after all. You see, there's a reason I didn't want to ever come back to Altdorf. There's a reason I didn't want any of this. When I was a young doctor, to pay fees, I resorted to charlatanism. I made false elixirs, things that did nothing other than calm the nerves a little, and I sold them as more than they were. A great breach, of course, of law, and I was censured for it. I only didn't completely lose everything due to, well, some old connections. That's why I was where I was, down far away, and I was very happy to be there. It was only because I lost everything due to that fire, due to bandits, raiders, that I was headhunted, given an opportunity by Lady Jana Zuttermine, and she took pity on me, but also she knew my background, and she knew I'd be desperate and do anything to maybe get a chance to redeem myself. I feel if it wasn't for you, that would have all come back on me. Tenfold.
Well, I am glad that things have worked out how they have, and if you have already been censured, there is no point in my standing in judgment. We've all done things we regret, often forced to do so by the circumstances in which we live.
Well, thank you. I'm honoured to have been of aid to you, and maybe Sigmar wished for all this to happen, yes? I wish you good luck on your journey. I'm not coming, of course, but I've been given some of the details. Obviously, it's very secret, but, well, I think you're going to find it. I think the three of you are going to save the Empire. I know that sounds a bit of an over-exaggeration, but it's what I honestly feel.
Well, I appreciate your faith, Elvira. If we cannot save it, maybe we can improve it.
And with that, she nods and departs, while Erica and Leah, of course, join you to head back to the manse as you look over the notes. Anything of interest that you'd like to specify as you look over these notes, or are you happy just to pick who seems the best?
I'd much rather go for, well, not to put too fine a point on it, but I'm much more interested in finding young people with spirit. I would like energetic physicians, people with something to prove. I don't want to have to deal with old doctors with old ways and having people trying to tell me how to run a surgeon's tent just because of my relative youth. I want the physicians that are out there on this adventure with us to be, well, keen. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have the occasional veteran in our stead, but yes, youth above all things. Oh, and I'm not looking for people who are titled aristocrats. There are people who can buy their way into guilds. I know that because I basically did. But I can't assume that almost every single one of them is going to be as honest as I am. So, if there's someone there who's some lordling, duke, duchess, or princess, frankly, I'm not interested in spending my time with them. I need people who are credibly competent.
Indeed, and that is what you will find on that list. Meanwhile, Heinrich Schilf, you have an appointment at the Grand Cathedral of Sigmar. It is not as big as the Imperial Palace, but it is still the largest temple you have ever been in. This is no mere church just to Sigmar. It contains several organizations, including the headquarters of the Imperial Inquisition of Sigmar, and of course the headquarters of the Cult of Sigmar and many of its divisions as well. You have a meeting in the great main hall. Towering above you, the massive glass ceiling, shining light through several beautifully decorated frescoes showing key scenes in the chronicles of Sigmar's life. Before you, a great throne, not the Emperor's throne, but the throne of the Grand Theogenist Yori the 15th. In attendance, of course, the High Capitular Volkmar the Grim, and quite a few people you do not know, although they are very briefly introduced. A very stern-looking individual in the full uniform of the Witch Hunters, who apparently is the Witch Hunter General, Toff, one of the 3 Witch Hunter Generals. There is not just one. They govern several orders. This particular individual is the one who manages the Order of the Fiery Heart, as well as the Order of the Silver Hammer. But again, the introduction is very brief. They mainly just stare at you. There's also a woman who you have not met, but she's wearing yellow detailed black robes of protective leathers, which you think shows that she is a member of the Order of the Silver Hammer. She is a very stern-looking woman, completely bald, several burn scars on her face, currently carrying a large hammer. At a guess, you would say this is very likely a warrior priest, probably a high-ranking one. She's not young, possibly in her 40s. There's also a large attendance of warrior priests in general, several guards, and just as you were going in, of course, but not to be part of the meeting, your dear compatriots, who have been summoned, Bertha and Emmeline. How are you feeling as you entered this most holy place of holies? It is quite inspiring.
Inspiring indeed, although one questions the value of monuments of men. I am entirely more deeds-oriented than ornament-oriented, especially having seen that which actually threatens the Empire. You could buy a lot of men with swords for what it cost to put this building together.
You certainly could. But this is how things are, and currently the Grand Theogenist himself is fully adorned in imperial robes, a great golden sort of chalice around his neck holding up said robe, holding in his hand the fabled Staff of Command, which has several holy enchantments, not magical of course, and of course on his neck the Jade Griffin, again a holy enchanted artifact, an amulet in the shape of a griffin. It is attached often to the Grand Theogenist's neck. He himself is bald, thick-bearded, slightly younger than Volkmar, taller, sharper-nosed. Ah, well met again, Inquisitor. Although our last meeting was all too brief and hardly pleasant. Ha ha!
I appreciate you finding time to speak with me, your schedule being demanding as it is.
It is vital we speak with you. We are aware, of course, of the entire situation. It might seem that this is a moment of great tragedy, knowing that the Warhammer Galmaraz has actually been hidden from us all this time, and we've merely been using an imitation. But I can confer to you in privacy and secrecy of the highest order that we have been not taken entirely by surprise by this. Some have called it heresy, but some have indeed considered it is not entirely heretical to assume that perhaps, yes, the true Warhammer was only needed at a time of dire urgency. A time such as this. If what we've heard is true, and you can truly find it in this place, in Blackfire Pass, this is not something that goes against doctrine. This is doctrine. This is a sign of Sigmar that finally the time has come. And you be the one who brings it to the new rightful Emperor.
I will gladly bear this honor if Sigmar finds me worthy of it.
Of course he does. Look at you. Look at what you have accomplished. Look where you are. And he holds up the staff and brings it down with a bang. Sigmar makes no mistakes. I make no mistakes. You and your friends are indeed here via prophecy.
Then I consider myself grateful for your blessing.
You see Volkmar the Grim looking at you very, very assessively, but remaining quite silent. And he shares a look briefly with Yori, before Yori just nods back at you. You will be, of course, assisted in this mission. We are aware that the Middenheimers and the Ulricans wish to accompany us. That is not a problem, but you must be careful. If this is a ploy, there is something they are trying to prove or take from us, it must not be allowed to happen. That is why we are giving you assistance. This is Sergeant Jocelyn Sparheim of the Order of the Silver Hammer. She will be leading 10 warrior priests. They will answer to you, but of course they will also answer to Sigmar. At this, that woman comes forward and gives you a nod, although it's not totally respectful. It's a little bit excessive. It will be my honor to serve Sigmar and aid you in this holy mission. But I hope that there will not be any problems. If we need to, we will bring to order those Ulricans and anyone who stands in the way of the mission. That won't be a problem, will it, Inquisitor?
You'll find no objection from me, although I sincerely doubt it will come to that.
It had better not. This mission is of vital importance. To Sigmar. That hammer must be retrieved and brought back here, no matter the cost.
You have every assurance that I will see this mission accomplished. And we will bring peace to the Empire, and put an end to this squabble between brethren.
And with that, she nods very stiffly. You see Volkmar then comment briefly. And what of the corruption in our very city, Yori? Should the Inquisitor here perhaps not be used for more pertinent investigation? We have discussed this, Volkmar. And well, perhaps you can prove yourself here, Inquisitor Schilf. Why is it more important that you are attending this mission rather than investigating corruption in the city itself?
I do understand how some might think that my time, my value would be here, rooting out where corruption has found itself. But I fear that's only a temporary solution. Yes, we could stomp out a cult here, and we could burn a witch there, but until the true power of the Empire is restored, until the Emperor is restored, we would merely be mowing the fields, never bringing it out by its root. I will go to the Blackfire Pass. I will retrieve Galmaraz. I will bring it to the Emperor, and we shall see this evil put to rest in finality. We need not maintain the now and leave people wondering night to night what might happen next. We can bring glory that will last for years and longer.
It seems everyone takes in your words thoughtfully, and the Grand Theologist himself does chuckle a little and nod. Not bad words, not bad words. Although I was also hinting at more immediate things. You see, I acknowledge your concerns that you actually brought to the High Capitula. But the truth is, if you were to start digging up things now, here in Altdorf, as things are, it will not go the way we think. The city is already on a knife's edge. Our enemies have seen to that. If we start accusing so-and-so and so-and-so, even us, of heresy, the city will begin to tear itself apart. We can't do it until we have legitimized the Emperor. Once you complete your mission and come back, and Wolfgang, is correctly crowned, or anointed rather, I suppose, then we can begin rooting out the corruption within. As he says this, you don't need to roll intuition. You can see that Volkmar doesn't quite agree with this, which is surprising perhaps. After all, he was the one himself who told you initially that you weren't needed here. But then again, things have changed, haven't they? A cultist was found at the very heel of the Emperor himself, after all.
Well, things have changed, and with this many people listening, I'm not willing to make deeply political proclamations, certainly not choosing one heir over another. There's a small hope that more sinister forces will reveal themselves while I'm gone. Once the heroes of Middenheim are no longer in the city, perhaps the worst elements amongst us will feel emboldened. But that's not something I feel like articulating in front of all the gathered persons.
It makes sense. And even Volkmar is keeping quiet. At the end of the day, despite his reputation, he still serves, as you all do, the Grand Theogenist. And so, the Grand Theogenist just nods. Very well then. You will be accompanied by Jocelyn Sparheim and her unit. You will accompany this mission, and you will ensure that whatever happens, that hammer is brought back to us here, whatever the cost.
I shall deliver it to you with my very own hands, Your Holiness. Worry not.
Good to hear. Any questions while you are here in the great chapel of Sigmar? It's not often that this many people are gathered here at once. This is a dire, dire time indeed.
Unfortunately for his inquisitive nature, I don't have much that I would ask in public. Not wanting to raise any brows, not clear entirely on who is listening, I think in this case it behooves me to just play the dutiful servant and focus on accomplishing things that are actually within my purview.
Also, one other thing before you depart. We received word that the Shallians wish to send a representative as well. Young priest for reasons. Again, the Shallians are certainly useful to have, but I worry your Lady Wittgenstein. There are several troubling things we have heard about their reputation. Keep an eye on that, would you?
Well, of course. I wouldn't happen to have heard these rumors myself, but rest assured, there's no amount of traveling companion friendship or goodwill that can stand between us and the Empire. I'm certain Lady Wittgenstein means just as well for Altdorf and the Reichland as I, but if that turns out not to be the case, you will know by blade where my loyalties lie.
You see this sergeant, Sparheim, just grip her hammer a little. She's clearly keen to deliver some justice. But the Grand Theologist just nods. See to it that you do. Her family's heritage is apparently extremely troubling. And some of the rumors we've heard here about her actions in Middenheim are highly suspicious. Keep an eye on her. As well as, of course, the young Baron Reiner Toddbringer.
I'll have my hands full of traveling companions, but rest assured, you have nothing to worry about under my watch. The Inquisition does not sleep in these matters.
And with that, there's an awful lot of nodding, and you are given your official orders and escorted out. And as you exit, of course, you catch sight of Emmeline and Bertha, fully equipped, armoured, and ready to go, it seems. Emmeline is a little pensive, and Bertha is very silent, as she often is these days. Emmeline comes up to you and says, "Well, I'm not really entirely sure about this, Inquisitor. On one hand, this is a great honour, but on the other hand, I don't know. I'd rather we'd stayed here in Outdorf, there's clearly stuff going on we need to sort out."
As servants of the Inquisition, you know very well that a well-applied scalpel in the correct area is the most efficient way to excise disease. Would we go door by door, cultist by cultist through this city? It would take us years to fix those kinds of problems. That's something the Watch can handle. That is something the militant orders of the Church can handle. For those with our talents, our ambitions, and our abilities, we are best used elsewhere.
Emmeline nods. Bertha seems a little distracted by something, which isn't that unusual these days. I just wish we didn't have to deal with those Ulricans. They're animals, Inquisitor. Animals, and they deserve to be purged.
Considering carefully my next words, perhaps for the duration of our travels, those are opinions you may want to keep to yourself in the name of a smoothly moving caravan.
I will do as I'm ordered, but you weren't there. Everything we did to help them, everything we did, and they throw it back in our faces. Their city was rife with chaos corruption. Why can't they see that they are wrong?
Many in the history of the Church have taken more than 1 or 2 lessons to find Sigmar's light. And when this chaos incursion is put to rest, they will be our brothers in this empire. The unity of the Reichland is what makes us strong. And though we might not always agree with our fellows from across the various borders, we cannot let divisions become bigger than that which unifies us.
And with that, she nods, seeming to take that on board. And so, time passes, and the 3 of you once again will meet. But it truly is a very busy day, and there's still a lot of people to talk to. But maybe, soon, you'll be heading away from all this, back on the road again. Things hopefully will be more simple. Hopefully.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this final part of the series, we are tackling Empire in Ruins. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Ager Sonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Mike Parker, Maciej, and Black Templar for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay bonus campaign, Rough Nights and Hard Days, as well as bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Call of Cthulhu there. On top of that, we also offer early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real, and even if they were, the Emperor has already dealt with that particular problem.